So what happens if you go to your GP and they dismiss your pelvic floor problems and just tell you to do Kegels? Well, you've got some options. The first thing to know is that there's loads of things that you can do for your pelvic floor health. Not all the answers lie with the GP either, because there's so many different factors to pelvic floor well-being. Now, there's a couple of different routes you could take. I would advise you to get referred or ask for a referral to a woman's health physio through your GP, if that's possible. It may not be possible. You can self-refer in some areas, so that's worth just checking out for your region, what you can do and what you can access for free. The other alternative, if you've got the means and the budget to do so, you can pay for a private women's health physio just by Googling, searching somebody who specialises in pelvic floor health. And what you want them to do is to check your pelvic floor muscles internally to see what's happening, to see how they're responding and what their function is. Because they may be tight, they may be overactive, they may be weak, and we just don't know. And this is going to be really helpful if you just can't feel the squeezing. If you can't feel the you're trying to do that squeeze exercise and you just don't have that engagement. Don't automatically think that they are weak and do more Kegels. If your GP tells you to do those Kegels, just ignore that for now, because that's not the right path. That's not the only path. The only time you want to do Kegels is if you are instructed by a women's health physio because they have diagnosed you as having a weak pelvic floor. But until then, don't do any, because it will just make things worse potentially. So once you've got that understanding of what your pelvic floor is doing, then there is loads of things that we can do. So for example, tight pelvic floors, you need to learn how to release tension, and you can do that in specific breathing and specific exercises where you allow your pelvic floor to release. And then the way that I work is that we work from feet function all the way up to realign and stretch and strengthen all of the areas of the body to get the pelvic floor working. Some big factors in if your pelvic floor is troubling you right now is to things that you can check are your stress and anxiety levels. Are you feeling stressed? Are you worried? Chances are you probably are if you're suffering with issues and you're being told that there's nothing else you can do and kind of just sent on your way. So check that and see what you can do about it. See if there's anything you can do, if you've got any tools that you know about, if you enjoy yoga, or if you can kind of go onto a meditation app. Try things like that. That's not easy. It's not as easy as just to say relax, but those are things that can really affect your pelvic floor. And meditation and relaxation, so constructive relaxation where you're lying down, maybe your legs up against the wall, are really good ways to try and integrate a bit more relaxation, a bit more self-care for your nervous system, which really helps with healing. And that's really going to help the pelvic floor to kind of let go of any tension, let go of any trauma, and just find some balance. So that's something to think about. Another thing to look at is in daily life, what are you doing with your body every day? How do you use it? How do you move? If, for example, you're sitting down for long periods of time during your day, because maybe you have to for work or driving, then have a think about can you add in some more walking in your week, or some more movement, even if it's just to get around and move around, shake your hips, dance to the radio, whatever it is, just to add in some movement breaks and to make sure that you're not sitting for too long or standing for too long or in one position. And if you are and you need to and you can't avoid it, then think about how you can actually combat that by then having a bit of a stretch out, having a bit of a move around after those long periods of sitting or standing. And then the other thing is to make sure you keep hydrated, because avoiding drinking water because you fear of leaking or going to the toilet more can actually exacerbate the bladder, and that can make the pelvic floor feel really worse. And you can make those symptoms of the urgency or needing the toilet more much worse if you're not hydrating. So you want to keep that bladder really happy by keep drinking water, And just keep an eye on whether tea and coffee affects you. Maybe that might make you wee a little bit more. So trying to cut those things out, those known, you know, factors, those diuretic things like caffeine, caffeinated drinks and things like that. So there's a few lifestyle things. But the first place is to know that there is hope, to know that there is lots that you can do, that the GP doesn't have all of the answers at all, and don't do Kegels as your first line of defence or your first strategy. Understand what's happening with your pelvic floor and then start diving into movement strategies and lifestyle and relaxation, and hopefully you will reduce those symptoms really, really soon.